Hello, welcome to episode 31 of the Harry Potter painting series, and this one we're doing Molly Weasley. I went for a different design on the dress because I didn't really like the one on the box art, so I come up with a different design, so I hope you like it. But we'll take you through that anyway, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, here we go with Molly. I made a start. I've done the face. You can see how I do the face in episode number 17. I think we did quite an in-depth video on that one, using Lucius Malfoy. It's exactly the same, and the hair, I'm not going down the usual Weasley route of just the Skrag brown and then going from there. I had a little bit of Mornfang brown to it just to change the tone slightly, because it looks slightly darker than Arthur's hair. For the skirt, it was Averland Sunset. Because I did a Zenithal Prime, that was in shadow there and that was in light, so I've managed to keep that with just thin coats. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add some more coats so it becomes more opaque on the raised creases there, and keep the shadows. And for the top, Deathwell Forest, I did try a scale 75 green, Ardennes green, but it wasn't very good, so I'm going to change to Deathwell Forest and go from there really. So yeah, we'll carry on with the skirt just now. So I've got a thin Averland Sunset now. It's about a little bit more than 50-50 water, so more water than paint. And what I'm trying to do is just intensify the raised parts of the creases. So there's one there, and there, and there. Don't worry about it looking too stark, it will dry a bit darker than it appears to be there. It's the same with white. It's really hard to blend a white colour because when you apply it, first of all, it looks so bright, and then you try and blend it in, but when it dries it just looks totally different. I'm just going to keep going around and blending these in the edges if it gets too stark, but we'll see how the first couple of coats go. I don't know whether that is a crease or just a mould line there. Oh, I'll treat it as a crease. Okay, we'll wait for that to dry. So I've gone over that a couple of times now, and I'm starting to like it, so I'm going to start highlighting now. I was painting something else earlier and I still had some deck tan from Vallejo on my palette, and I've added that to the Averland Sunset. Anything like Ushabti Bone, or what's the other one, Screaming Skull, anything like that to lighten it, or Ivory, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to start about 3/4 of the way up each crease and just highlight down. You're probably thinking, why is he doing it that way? I know I usually highlight at the top, but just fancy being different tonight. So this is quite thin, it's almost a glaze consistency, only because I didn't want to have it too opaque and it spoil the paint job so far. And then I'm just going to highlight the creases up the top now. It's probably dry now, so I'm going in again about halfway down. Try and catch the edge of that. A bit of cloth there. So same again, I'm going to go for another pass now. This will be about a third one now, but I'm going to start, well, the last one was about halfway up, this one I'll be about from there down, so I'll try and show you how thin this paint is in a minute. Okay, let's give you a rough idea. It's quite thin, but watch how it dries. It'll should go away to nothing really. Right, a little bit more, but further down again. Trying to get a nice transition towards the bottom. So that's fading quite nicely now. Okay, right. That's the skirt done for now. We'll come on to the pattern later on. So if you remember, the top colour was Deathworld Forest. What I've got now is a mix of one part of that to one part medium. And it's because I don't want a really dark shadow, so I'll see how this goes. I just want to try and concentrate it in the folds there so it picks it up, and around the bottom of the skirt and under the chest then. So I'll just spot it in there so it pulls a little bit. Might take a couple of coats, but I'll see what it dries like. I'll try and push it into the arm there, into the little creases. Okay. Right, fingers crossed. I'll wait for it to dry. So while we're waiting for that to dry, I have got some colours now to do her hair. So I've got Skrag Brown mixed with a little bit of Fire Dragon Bright. I'm going to start highlighting by picking out strands. Only the ones that are facing up the way, if you know what I mean. So if you turn it that way, I'll be highlighting there, there and there, and leaving the ones that are in shadow there, so you get a nice bit of contrast. So I'll carry on with that for a bit. And I won't bore you with that, I'll carry on myself. Okay, so I'm going to carry on highlighting. I've added a little bit more orange to the mix. I'm just going to highlight the same areas. Okay, so I've put another coat of the green wash on, and what I've got now, while that's drying, I've got a thin Agrax, and all I want to do is just pick out that parting. I've done a couple of coats now with the orange and just added a little bit more for another pass. But, just spotting a bit of Agrax here and there, and I'll catch the top of that part in there. And what I'll do now is wait for that to dry, and I might add a little bit of yellow, like you know the regular Weasley hair recipes. I'm conscious that I don't want to go as ginger as the boys and Ginny, so I'm going to try and keep it a little bit more muted because it does look like a different tone in the box art. So I'll wait for that to dry now. So the last highlight on the hair, I've added a little bit of yellow to the mix, as I said, and I think I'm just going to do the crown, so I'll refocus there. Okay. I'm just picking out the strands right on the top of the crown. I might do one at the front as well. Okay. So you might have noticed that I forgot to do the skin on the legs, so I've corrected that. I've got a dryad bark now, that's for the wand. And try and pick out a brown for the detail on the top now. So next up we've got some Citadel's XV88. I'm going to do the collar of the dress, or the top. And what I'm planning to do is, once I get a solid coat on this, I'll just throw some Agrax on it, just to give it a bit of depth. Because it is quite fiddly. I'm just using the absolute tip of my brush there to run it down. Pick out stringy bits, and I don't know if I'll bother with a border on the bottom. On the box art there's a border. I'm not entirely sure that I like that, so I don't think I'm going to bother. I'll do the belt. Right, I'll do another coat off camera, and then I might throw the Agrax on top then, see how it dries. Okay, so that's a couple of coats. What I've done, I've added a little bit of Biel brown and a bit of bone to it. I'm just going to do just go around the edge of the frilly bit. I'll do that a couple of times, and then I'm going to highlight down the middle. It's a bit awkward to get to. Just highlight the top bit, anything that I think might catch it, and I'll come back. Okay, so that's the second coat around the edge of the frilly bit. I've got Agrax now. I'm just going to drop it up in the darker area now. Push it in towards the edge of the collar, and I'll probably do a couple of coats of that. Okay, so I was a bit clumsy with Molly, and I dropped her, so I've had to, because of the pin broken in the bottom of her foot, I've had to put her on a base early. So that's why. That's why she looks different from the last time we saw her. Right, I have got some, I was saying I had some deck tan on my palette from earlier. This is what I'm going to use now for those little circles on her top. So I'm just using the point there, just dabbing in. So I'll do the other side off camera. So back to the top then. I've got the original Deathworld Forest. I'm just going to start highlighting the creases on the top. I'm not going to do too much because there's like a texture on the box art, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow that. It just looks like lines, so I'll just get a couple of highlights in first, like down here. Let's highlight the creases. Sorry, I'm just thinning my paint. Let's feather it out there. Okay. So I'm going to do one more highlight on Molly here. And I've got the original Death Forest green. All I'm doing, I'm putting a highlight on. I've also got the original mix with the Biel tan green, and I'm putting in a shadow directly after it, so I'm trying to kick the contrast a bit. Okay, let's do the back. So this is quite thin. I'd say about a glaze consistency. I'm going up the way. And I've got that, the base coat with the wash in. I'm going up and then pulling it down. Just to smooth things out a little bit. So now we're ready for the stripy bits. So I've added Ushabti bone to the Death World Forest, and a bit lighter than what we were using for the highlights here for the stripes now. Hang on, I'll get some more. Okay. So it's like a really, really desaturated grey green, and I think we're ready to go. That's a bit too. We'll go with it anyway. I'm looking on the box art, it's just lines, so I'm just gonna, I'll do it on the back, it'll be easier to show you, I think. So I just use the tip of your brush. I think this was similar to what was the memory is shocking. Shackle Bolt. We did stripes on him. Doesn't matter if you go too bright. You can always put a green glaze over the top of it. As long as you get a little bit of texture in there. I'll go the opposite way now. They don't have to be perfect, they don't look perfect on the box art, so I won't worry about it. So I'll carry on doing that. Okay, on with the bit I've been dreading is the floral pattern on the dress. I hate the one that Night Models have done. So I'm going to go for... I did a bit of research and I googled some pictures, and I found a fabric painting tutorial online, but I like the colours, so that's what I'm going to do. So if you do look at floral patterns, they all come in about 4 or 5 petal sizes. So I'm going to start off with, and the good thing about fabric patterns is you don't well, there's no set size. You can do whatever size you want. I've seen ladies with huge floral patterns, and I've seen some with really delicate tiny patterns, so it's up to you what you want to go for. So I'm going to go for 4 petals. That'll do for a petal. If you want to highlight the middle, you can. On top of that, when it dries, I was going to go like a yellowy colour. Hopefully I've still got some more, but yes, I got some on the palette here. I've seen nice ones with like a dark green, but I wanted dark green for the actual stems. So I'm going to put yellow in the middle. I don't know if it's going to pick it up or not, but I'll try it. It's coming. I think I just need to put some water on it. One thing, when I'm doing designs like this, I usually put a bit of a flow improver in my paint. Just makes it that little bit easier to work with. So, one flower. Going on to a dark green now for the stem. Put a little curve in it there, I think. And a lighter green for the leaves coming off it. Start with a point there and get thicker towards the stem to make it look like a leaf. Obviously you're not going to get this with just one coat, you need to build it up. I was going to break into song then build me up Buttercup. I don't think I will. I'll save the embarrassment. And so once you get one design down, all you got to do then is replicate it around the skirt. So if I'm feeling a bit cheeky later on, I'll do a darker line around the outline of the flower, and maybe one around the centre of the yellow part. I might go dark green in there, but with this camera in the way I can't really get to it. But that gives you an idea what I'm going to do with the rest of the dress then. Okay, hopefully you can see that I've outlined the petals. I've done the middle of the flower again. I've put a highlight on it and I've darkened the stem a bit. But yeah, the trick is now just to replicate it around the rest of the dress. So I'll carry on doing that and I'll come back when I'm finished. Okay, so just to go over the flowers again, I made the shapes of the petals in the blue. And I lined it with like a dark grey and did a circle in the middle. And then you highlight it with a light blue towards the middle and then the yellow for the centre. This was the dark green for the stem, light green for the leaves, and then a line of dark green inside it. So yeah, it's up to you whether you want to go that far or not, but she looks just as good with just a yellow dress, so I'll leave it up to you. Okay, so I carried on the pattern around the dress or around the skirt, and yeah, not too bad. I think we're done, so I'm gonna take some nice pictures and we'll do a wrap up. And there we are, finished on our base, ready to go, another one off the list. Hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, get involved in the comments below. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And that's it for now. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.